Creative Katie, Karen Birchall here. Welcome to my channel, Mixed Media Creations. Take time to hit the subscribe button, so click on the bell, and select the option to be notified as soon as I upload new videos. Today we have a mixed media tutorial, Sassy Sayings series. In this, I will be using a technique, modeling paste through a stencil, and then how to highlight the texture. So I'm using my 4x4 canvases and this Crazy Waves stencil. And I love this stencil because it has 4 different patterns in it, and it has this curve that I'm utilizing on this one. And I apologize that this is off camera, but basically I'm just putting the modeling paste, the light and fluffy modeling paste, through the stencil using a palette knife. And the palette knife that you see here is the one that I prefer using. My next favorite would be just using a credit card, and I'm scraping off the excess that goes around the edges. So I'm just doing 3 different ones here, and I'm using 3 different parts of this stencil. At the end of my video, I will link to other videos and other projects where I've used this same stencil. So, watch right to the end or skip to the end if you want to, because when you're buying materials, I think you need to know what kind of things, how many things you can use with it. Is it a good product? Are you going to get a lot of use out of it? So that's what I've tried to do. So here I'm putting a couple colors of paint, and I've got aqua and I've got a purple here. And I like to mix the paints, although this is getting a little too blended for me. I wanted a little bit of a deeper color on here. So I just keep playing with the paints. Eventually I smarten up and I decide to let it dry, and then I come back and I coat it with the dark purple. And I'm just using Americana craft paint here. Some of the other ones I'm using Liquitex Basics, some of them I'm using Artist Loft, the heavy bodied. That doesn't matter so much. What I want is a good base color, and then I'm going to bring out the texture. And I'll be using my Julie Nutting dolls on these cards for the Sassy Sayings. So this is Cobalt Blue Metallic and from Artist Loft. Love, love, love this color. And I want to add some bling, so that's why I'm bringing out the texture with a metallic. And then I'm just edging my 4x4. Now I'm doing it on a 4x4. You could do this on a 5x7. You could do this on an art journal page. You could do it on a greeting card. Take the idea and run with it. So there I have one of the Julie Nutting dolls, and she's wearing the colors that kind of match the cobalt blue metallic that I added. Now I collect a lot of sayings over time, so I've been having this running tally of these, what I call sassy sayings, and this one says, please cancel my subscription to your issues. And while I'm making this for, a craft fair, this would make great teacher gifts or friend gifts, hostess gifts, just a little something something. And I'm splattering with the metallic again. My goal here is to have some interest and detail, but not have a lot of fussiness. Although I'm edging this one with the metallic, I think I dropped that with the next 2. And I am going to make 3 of these 4x4 magnets. Now, the basic process is the same, but I'm using different color schemes. And I just wanted to put that here to show you how you can play with the colors. Some people say, why don't you tell me the colors that you're using? And, when it matters, if it's a great color combination, I will tell you about that. But otherwise, I want you to use your creativity and pick what works for you, what makes you happy, what are your happy colors. But here basically I want a nice dark background, and I want contrast with whatever I use, whatever paint I'm using to bring out the texture and the splatters. Now I printed out these sentiments this is just on copy paper. It's a little bit heavier. I'm not sure. I should look at the packaging, but it is just that little bit heavier and seems to handle taking that wet medium on it quite well. So after gluing this down with gel medium, I am just going to do some shading. I can't seem to just leave it. And here I'm just using, I think it's I'm not sure if I grabbed black or if I grabbed, Payne's Gray, which is a blue tint gray, dark, that I often like to use. And I'm shading on the outside. As you watch, every one I kind of do just a little bit different and get a different effect, so you can decide which one you want. Here I shade around the sentiments, and then I decide, that really isn't necessary. But it is an option. If you don't have the fine liner bottle, you can just shade like this underneath it, and that brings out the sentiment. But I prefer the fine liner bottle. And I'm just putting this on very sketchily. You've seen me do this before. I just find that it really works quite well. Now when I put it on, it's not perfectly straight and it's not perfectly anything, but that's what I like. And it's taken me a long time to relax enough to accept those kind of things. I always liked it when other people did it, and it took a longer time for me to get in there. In the fine liner bottle, I just mix regular acrylic paint with water. More water. If it's a heavier bodied paint that you're using, you'll need more water. So now we're working on number 2, and here I'm going to be using a dark burgundy-ish color, and I'm not sure if that's quinacridone magenta or alizarin crimson. That's neither. I was going to go yellow and green, and then decided to go with rich jewel tones. Now, when you're making things, if you were making these as cards for friends or something, doing it in assembly line will save you time. Even if you're using different colors, because once you got the idea, and you could make them all with the same color pattern, color thing as well, which would save even more time. But I wanted to demonstrate different color schemes for you. Give you some options and get you thinking. So here I just flip this over and I'm painting the back side. Now, paint gets on that magnet. What I do is I just spray my Murphy's oil soap mixture and just use a paper towel to get it off afterwards, and I clean it all off. Alternatively, you can take some painter's tape, and I've done that, and cover the magnet and then put it back on once I've done, I've done it and I've varnished it as well. Now some of these, if you don't get a dark enough coverage, let it dry and then put another coat of paint. And I think I did that here. Here I decided to go with one of my old-time favorite color schemes, the burgundy with gold. So I'm just using a makeup sponge and the pad of my finger to build up the gold on the texture part. Let it dry. And it's another one of those things. It's like stenciling. You just need to add a little bit, let it dry, add a little bit more, let it dry. If you get where you don't want, you can go back in like you see me doing here and just painting, putting back the burgundy color. If you're quick, you can remove it with a baby wipe, but this works too. Just get a fine brush. Then just edging it with gold because I have the gold on the craft mat. And I want everything to kind of work together. So we have, it brings out the texture, it edges the mini canvas, and I'm going to splatter with it as well. Most times you see me using multiple colors of paint on a background, but because I want the texture to show up, that pattern to show up, I wanted the rest of the background to be relatively simple. As always, I'm using my fan brush to splatter. So I have another Julie Nutting doll that I made in a Build Your Stash session. This one has the pink and the yellow, which kind of matches the burgundy and gold that I have in the background. Now I cut this too close. So all I do here is I just piece it back in with gel medium and the seam disappears and it covers perfectly. And by the time I add a coat of varnish to this, it will be perfectly protected. This one says, I'd agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong. And again, these sayings, I just collect them over time. I write them in a book or I type them into my, into Word when I find them. Take a picture if I'm out and about and I see a cute saying. And I skipped the shading around the sentiment this time. I just went straight for the fine liner bottle. And there's nothing saying if you're doing multiples of something that everyone has to be identical. I must say, I've definitely gotten my use out of these fine liner bottles. I hemmed and hawed so long about whether I should buy them, whether I would use them, but I think I use them almost on every product. Artist Loft, this color is turquoise, and it is a wonderful color. It's different than their light blue permanent, and different than the aqua, somewhere in between, and it's just luscious. I love it. And just flipping it over and painting the other side. And basically, I'm doing that more so because I am giving these as gifts or planning on selling them, one of the two. So, if it was for myself, I wouldn't worry. This is Artist Loft Metallic. They have a lovely line of metallics. This is a purple, and I'm thinking that'll give nice contrast. And between the pad of my finger and the makeup sponge, I'm just bringing out the texture, and you can see how that just makes it pop. Then right about now I had an idea of something I've done in the past. You can put the stencil back on and stencil through it. And if you want more coverage or you don't want to risk getting the paint anywhere else by doing it the other way, this is the way to go. Just put the stencil back on and then stencil through it right onto the textured area. Aren't you glad you watched to the end of the video? Because every one, even though I'm basically doing very similar composition and setup, little tidbits of information, little extra hints come every time. And then I'm going to splatter. And I like the splatter on this one because you have the dots there and you have the dots in the splatter. And then I picked a dress. Again, the colors are going to kind of match, but it also had the circles. So you're repeating something that's elsewhere. And that always makes for a better composition. And here on this one, I decided that I'm going to shade on the dress, on the actual, the Julie Nutting doll. And I did go back on the other ones and shade it on there as well. Instead of shading on the outside, I shaded here. And I really like this better. I didn't do the shading when I initially make the Julie Nutting doll because I'm not sure what color I'm going to put and what's going to be in the background. So it's something that has to be done here. But the shading on the skin or the hair could definitely be done ahead of time. And also that one was very, very white. There was, so this kind of gave more color to this. And I'm just adding a little bit of shading on all the skin areas, because it just looks plain without it. But if I was doing these in bulk, doing a whole bunch, all the skin tone, it goes pretty quick. This one I turned a little bit different, of a different angle with texture on a different place, applying it, putting it on with gel medium again, running it off the edge at the top and the bottom. Don't worry about making sure that it's perfectly centered or matched. And this sentiment says, people say I don't care. I act like I don't care. It's not an act. So I hope I've given you some inspiration, color schemes maybe that you want to give a try to, using your stencil in a different way. And you can use these sassy sayings. If you don't have the Julie Nutting dolls, you can have a different kind of doll stamp. Look through your stamps. I would even use the crazy birds and the crazy cats with that. Or some free printables. Thanks so much for watching me. Leave a comment, like my video, give me a thumbs up, share the video with your creative friends. If you make something that's I inspired you, please share in my Facebook group, Mixed Media Creations. Wait till the end of the video and you'll see links to other uses of either the Julie Nutting doll or the Crazy Waves stencil. give you some more ideas and help you decide if you really want to buy that. Bye for now.